So is it fair to say, like, if you know, whether you're in Detroit or you're in Sioux City or Kingston, like from when you land, is it 24/7? Like from a coaching perspective, or what do you do as a, because frankly, I mean the family dynamic you described, I would say is probably more common in the profession than it is uncommon.
Yeah. I don't think it's 24/7 hockey for me. Um, I think you got to stay fresh. You got to stay energized. You got to find some things to do away from the rink. You got to get outside of the rink. Um, you hear some of the coaches I've worked with and worked for, show up at 6 in the morning and leave at 7 at night. And for me personally, I struggle with that. I'm not productive in those environments. I actually
Interesting.
I work a lot better on my couch. So like I like to be in the office, have some energy, have some conversation, have most everything teed up to the point where we got to tweak a couple things for meetings, but use the time at the rink to really interact with the players. And for me, as soon as the players are gone and on with their day, I'm into something else. Like I need to kind of get away. The thing in Tucson that was amazing, I think everywhere you go, I picked up something a little different. I know when I went to Everett, I started hiking. Like I'd disappear, and all of a sudden, I'd be in the Cascades
Oh,
walking
no way.
walking through the
Yeah.
woods. Like I was from the Midwest. I'd never taken a hike in my life. So that was that. When I got to Tucson, I started road biking. I'd never road biked in my life, but
How
there
do you
was.
like that? I've gotten into that recently, and it's the best
It's
for
amazing.
just,
Uh,
yeah.
I love it. Arizona, especially, literally shorts and a sweatshirt in the middle of December, and I was gone. I could go for 35 minutes if I thought I had to get back and get the next thing going, or I could go for 2 hours and be gone all after practice and get back, have dinner, get the meetings ready for tomorrow and move on with my day. So 24/7, that's really not me.
I think that's good advice because man, I talk to so many coaches that almost feel obligated that if they're not grinding, like young coaches, right? And they're like, if I'm not staring at video, every waking moment, then I'm not doing enough. And I'm just like, man, like I probably would have. I could see how as a young coach it's easy to fall into that trap, but it's just as you get older, you're like, I don't care who. That's not sustainable. Like high performers just don't operate that way.
Yeah, well, you got to do. There's a lot of work to be done. You got to get that work done, but I think you gotta find your moments. You got to be energized, and um, you got to have some juice. Like everybody's
Yeah,
looking at you when you're a coach.
yeah.
The players are looking at you, and I think you need to be energized. Really.
So you go to Kingston next 1 year. I found this shocking. That was you took the team to the Eastern Conference Final. That was the for a franchise that's been around that long. It was the furthest they'd been in the playoffs. At that point, like, did you have a pretty good sense of like, hey, I know that if we can come in and implement, be good in a couple different areas, we can give ourselves a shot. Like, obviously, talent plays a role. Like, there's a lot of factors, but if you know that, hey, we can be good in a couple areas, I can get our team or this program on track.
Yeah, the whole Kingston thing was an amazing experience. Like we had that year in Sioux City that was really good, and I think I could have. I was like, I think I might stay in the USHL the rest of my career. Like
Really?
maybe I'm just gonna be like, because I love Sioux City. Like I was working for friends. We had a really good environment. We were developing coaches. It was just it fit. It worked. Like
Yeah.
I was able to go home after the season. Right back to Everett. But I kind of said, hey, look, like I wanted to try and still be an NHL coach. Like this is my goal. It's been my goal for a long time. And at the time, like the USHL coaches weren't like bouncing right out of the USHL. Like John Cooper had gone from the USHL to the American League. Blash had gone from the USHL. to
Western
college
Michigan, yeah,
to
and then
Western to straight,
Detroit, Grand Rapids, yeah,
yeah. And Newsy had gone from Green Bay to the East Coast League. So I was like, "Ooh, what do I do?" Like I had a major junior background, so I was like, "Hey, like maybe I'll try that. Like let's go back and if you can win in major junior, you see a lot of coaches out of major junior at the time going right into NHL jobs or American League jobs." So
sure,
I said, "Let's go take the challenge." And when uh, when I interviewed, Darren Kiley was the GM and Doug Gilmore was the president, and they said it was a 2-year process. We're going to build this thing for 2 years. We got some guys we're going to move, and I think it's really going to set us up for year 2. And obviously you've talked about a little bit here. I felt like that was my sweet spot. Like I felt like I could go in, take a group, push a group for a year, but like really be ready in that second group
yeah.
to go on a run. And I'll never forget the day. It was it was almost as scary as the room with all the names on it.
Yeah.
Um, but Doug Gilmore walked in, and him and Darren had an office in the Kingston coaching office right next to you. And they said, "Jay," I was like, "Yeah, what's up, guys? Like, what's going on?" They're like, "Get ready, we're gonna go for it this year." And we were in like 5th place at the time.
Like, is the season started at this point,
No, it's
or
like November, you know.
oh, so you're like in stream? Okay,
I'm like, "All right, well, what's that mean?" They're like, "We're all in. We're gonna go for it." I was like, "Well, I thought we said 2 years,
and
guys."
what motivated them at this? Because you said you're in 5th place at this time.
Yeah, you know what? We had a really good goaltender at the time in Kingston, and we needed some scoring, and they were looking at like teams in the league, so there were, they thought if they could build it up, they had a chance. There was only a couple teams they thought we could get by, and so I mean, you got to go look at the stats, but it was like 20 something draft picks we traded, our last 2 first round picks, and we went for it. We were all in. Like it was unbelievable. I remember like all the trades happened, and by now, obviously, it's like World Juniors has just ended. This is like a month and a half later after
Yeah.
they're like, "We're trading everybody." I was like, "Okay, here we go." And so we made the trades, and we had to put a team back together starting in January with a totally different look. Guys from 3 different teams coming in, putting a culture together,
Wow.
and it was fantastic. We ended up having a really really fun group, and we lost to Hamilton in the Western Conference Finals, or sorry, Eastern Conference Finals, um, who had also loaded up,
Really?
like literally made all the same trades, and I think they won the Memorial Cup that year. So it was, yeah, it was an amazing experience, and you know, thank God I got the job in Tucson.
For the real. Well, man, I just have such an appreciation for major junior coaches, and like, I mean, again, both great routes, but I just think like personally, like I just think about the level of anxiety. Like when you're in Sioux City, it's like, hey, I can pick my own players, I can build my own culture. Where major junior, it's like, man, you better have all kinds of trust in the people that are pulling those strings for you, because Doug Gilmore just says, hey, we're buckle up, we're going,
Yep,
killer.
it was so good. I literally remember making the call home. I was like, "Ooh, man, I think we're gonna do something pretty drastic here." I had no idea what. I was like, "Okay, here we
Wow,
go." But
that's on.
it it is an amazing franchise, actually. Amazing
I've
history.
never been, and I've heard it's an amazing city too.
It's an amazing city. It was a fantastic experience. The Springer family was amazing to work for. Like what a setup. And then it was it was a good stop. I wish I could have been there longer, actually, and sustain like longer success. But it was one of those blips. Like when you look at it, and you're looking at my coaching background history, you're like, what happened that year? Like,
Yeah.
what's the real story behind that? You tell somebody, oh yeah, we traded like 20 draft picks, and they're like, what? It's like, oh yeah.
Coaches ask me all the time how they can get more accomplished during their practice. My answer: huddle. Here's why. Because the more you can teach and educate off the ice, the more progress you can make on the ice. Huddle is the leading video and data solution for ice hockey in the world. Huddle delivers simple yet powerful video review tools with desktop and mobile apps, enabling entire teams to review, study, and share video anywhere and at any time. Plus, with Huddle Assist, you can quickly get access to a full suite of game stats along with your film breakdown, so you can analyze both your team's and individual player performance, ensuring you provide objective feedback. Right now, listeners of the Glassnote podcast can get a great discount on Huddle products. To learn more, check out huddle.com/the coaches site for details on this exclusive offer. That's HUDL.com/the coaches site.